Hello and welcome to Outside View Scandals, the channel where we unravel the tangled web of history's most dramatic controversies. Today we're diving into the Hohenstaufen Dispute, a medieval power struggle that saw kings, emperors and popes locked in a battle for control over Italy. It's a story of ambition, betrayal and, of course, the occasional excommunication. Because what's a medieval scandal without a bit of divine condemnation? The Hohenstaufen dynasty, named after their ancestral castle in Swabia, ruled the Holy Roman Empire during the 12th and 13th centuries. They were one of Europe's most powerful families, producing a line of ambitious emperors who sought to consolidate their rule over both Germany and Italy. And this is where the trouble begins, because controlling Italy meant clashing with the papacy. The heart of the Hohenstaufen dispute was a fundamental question: who held ultimate authority in Christendom, the emperor or the pope? The Holy Roman Emperors claimed to be the secular leaders of Christendom, chosen by God to rule. The popes, on the other hand, insisted that spiritual authority trumped earthly power. And when two institutions claim to be the ultimate authority, you can bet that things are going to get messy. Let's start with Frederick I, better known as Frederick Barbarossa, one of the most iconic figures of the Hohenstaufen dynasty. Barbarossa came to power in 1155 and wasted no time asserting his authority. He marched into Italy and crowned himself Holy Roman Emperor in Rome, signaling his intent to bring the Italian city-states under imperial control. But the Pope at the time, Adrian IV, wasn't exactly thrilled. Adrian demanded that Barbarossa acknowledge the Pope as his overlord, a demand that Barbarossa flatly rejected. And so began a long and bitter conflict between the emperor and the papacy. Barbarossa's reign was marked by a series of campaigns in Italy, where he faced resistance not only from the Pope, but also from the fiercely independent city-states of northern Italy. And these cities, known as the Lombard League, formed an alliance against Barbarossa with the Pope's blessing. The conflict culminated in the Battle of Legnano in 1176, where Barbarossa's forces were decisively defeated. It was a humiliating blow for the emperor and a significant victory for the papacy. But Barbarossa wasn't the type to give up easily. He eventually made peace with the Pope and the Lombard League, even participating in the Third Crusade before his untimely death in 1190. His reign set the stage for an even more dramatic chapter in the Hohenstaufen dispute, the reign of his grandson Frederick II. If Barbarossa was ambitious, Frederick II was downright audacious. Crowned Holy Roman Emperor in 1220, Frederick was a brilliant and enigmatic ruler who spoke multiple languages, patronized the arts, and pursued scientific inquiry. He was nicknamed Stupor Mundi, the wonder of the world, for his intellect and charisma. But his reign was anything but peaceful. Frederick's relationship with the papacy was contentious from the start. He promised to go on a crusade, but repeatedly delayed his departure, much to the annoyance of Pope Gregory IX. When Frederick finally embarked on the Sixth Crusade in 1228, he achieved something remarkable. He negotiated the peaceful transfer of Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and Nazareth to Christian control. And you would think the Pope would be thrilled, right? Wrong. Gregory excommunicated Frederick for going on crusade without papal approval. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Frederick was excommunicated for reclaiming Jerusalem. You have to love medieval logic. The tensions between Frederick and the papacy only escalated from there. Frederick's ambitions in Italy, particularly his efforts to centralize power in the Kingdom of Sicily, were seen as a direct threat to the Pope's authority. The popes, in turn, waged a relentless propaganda campaign against Frederick, portraying him as a heretic and a tyrant. Frederick responded in kind, accusing the papacy of corruption and hypocrisy. It was a medieval PR war, complete with inflammatory letters, public denunciations, and the occasional assassination attempt. The conflict reached its zenith under Pope Innocent IV, who declared Frederick deposed in 1245 and called for a crusade against him. This was essentially a holy war, not against non-Christians, but against a Christian emperor. And Frederick fought back fiercely, but the constant warfare took its toll on his empire. When Frederick died in 1250, the Hohenstaufen dynasty began to unravel. Frederick's sons tried to carry on his legacy, but they faced overwhelming opposition from the papacy and rival claimants to the imperial throne. The last Hohenstaufen ruler, Conradin, was executed in 1268, marking the end of the dynasty. It was a tragic and ignoble end for a family that had once ruled over much of Europe. So, what are the scandals here? First, there's the sheer audacity of the conflict itself. This wasn't just a political dispute, it was a battle for the soul of Christendom. Both the Hohenstaufen emperors and the popes claimed to represent God's will, yet their actions often seemed anything but divine. From excommunications to military campaigns, both sides used every tool at their disposal to undermine each other. And second, the Hohenstaufen dispute exposed the fragility of medieval power structures. The Holy Roman Empire was supposed to be a unifying force, yet it was constantly torn apart by internal divisions and external pressures. The papacy too was far from unified, with different factions vying for control and often acting more like feudal lords than spiritual leaders. And finally, there's the irony of it all. The Hohenstaufen emperors and the popes both sought to establish their authority over Italy, yet their relentless conflict only weakened their respective positions. The Italian city-states, which were supposed to be pawns in this power struggle, emerged as independent players, laying the groundwork for the Renaissance. So what can we learn from the Hohenstaufen dispute? Perhaps the most important lesson is that absolute power, whether claimed by emperors or popes, is rarely absolute. The struggle between the Hohenstaufen dynasty and the papacy reminds us that even the most powerful institutions are ultimately shaped by human ambition, greed, and fallibility. So what do you think? Were the Hohenstaufen emperors visionaries fighting for a unified Christendom, or were they power-hungry rulers who overstepped their bounds? And was the papacy justified in opposing them, or did it betray its spiritual mission in the pursuit of political power? So please let me know your thoughts in the comments below the video, and don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell for more dives into history's most fascinating scandals. Thank you for watching Outside View Scandals, and I'll see you in the next video, and one of them you find right here in the end screen.